Hello everybody, this is the Tabletop Tyrant. Today, we are diving back into the Chaos Waste and into its history. Most of us are aware of Archaon, the Grand Marshal of the End Times. However, there were 12 Everchosens that each reigned and scarred the land in their own way, leaving behind ruin and chaos wherever their dark path touched. The Everchosen occupying today's video is Asavar Kul. Asavar Kul, the Anointed, High Czar of the Kurgans, 12th Everchosen. These were the titles bestowed upon him by his followers, the gods themselves, and the very people that would come to know battle with his forces. In the year 2301 Imperial Calendar, Asavar led the largest chaos horde assembled at that time. He brought with that horde ruin and destruction to the northern lands of Kislev. Asavar Kul had led forces to victory on a couple of occasions. His first, the destruction of Prague, and his second, the occupation of Arengrad. It is here that Asavar smacked down some Kislevites and Oslander forces. One might ask, how can one take on such mighty armies of the Empire, whose tactic and technology were supreme? Well, it wouldn't be possible if it hadn't been for the ebb and flow of the realms of chaos. You see, every now and then magic swells in the Chaos Waste, and when one of these events happens, it is almost always followed by the harrowing sight of a chaos incursion. Unfortunately for the world, however, this incursion would be led by a man who had rallied hell itself and was spit out by the realms of chaos to bring the end of the known world of man. With mighty ironclad warriors and demonic hosts, Asavar Kul united chaos in an attempt to seize power of the old world, and a chance to gain his god's permanent favor. Asavar Kul would be found, armed with the Slayer of Kings, a demon-bound weapon said to embody hell itself, wielded in one hand and a chalice of chaos in another. Atop his head was the crown of everlasting conquest. This crown was a symbol of Asavar Kul's power and majesty. It could be said that if not for this crown and its regenerative properties, Asavar would not have survived long enough to become Everchosen. However, such notions are made by men who cannot comprehend the raw might and power it takes for one to not only elevate to Everchosen, but to thrive and unify its armies, which was Asavar's greatest feat as a warrior and leader. The Siege of Prague. It was at Prague that the Empire would gain a glimpse of what was to become of them if they should fail pushing back Asavar's army. It was said that the city was in anguish and mortal suffering would be seen all over. When reinforcements showed up to end the battle, they were found to be too late and were met with the horror of the defeat. The raw power of chaos swelled throughout the city and its inhabitants, fusing them together in hellish and inhuman shapes. People, while still alive, melted into the walls so much so that one could not tell flesh from stone. Distorted faces in pain and eternal suffering stared out from the walls, and it was said that the very stone would howl and groan with voices that had once issued from human lips. Upon seeing this grisly sight, it was understood that Asavar Kul had to be stopped. The reinforcements of Kislevite lancers and knights rerouted to hit Asavar from the rear, lending aid to Magnus, who after this battle would be known and heralded as Magnus the Pious. When Magnus began marching to Kislev, he would run into an unexpected ally, Teclis, a very powerful high elf mage, whose growing concern about this chaos incursion brought him to Magnus in an attempt to help the race of man withstand this terrible evil. Terrible it was, for upon Magnus reaching Kislev, it was already beset by siege and holding on by a thread. Dwarves from Karazakarak and the Kislevites were almost spent, having been subjected to brutal combat and maddening apparitions of chaos. Magnus would take this in stride and march amongst his men while leading them into the mouth of chaos itself, with nothing but faith, steel, and gunpowder to protect him. In this moment, Asavar Kul had victory in his grasp and was already thinking about his next conquest. That was, until he saw Magnus's army meet his in combat. However, Asavar took this in stride, knowing that if he broke this general, surely the forces of man would fracture and he would be able to take the Empire even quicker. However, shortly after, his mages would be contested by Teclis and his forces. Then to follow, his army would be caught off guard by the reinforcements of Prague in the rear. Ironclad warriors and ferocious marauders fought back to back, taking on each new challenge with stride, brutality, and reaping a bloody tally of men, dwarves, and elves. This ferocity would not be able to last forever, and the forces of chaos would be broken and scattered from the lands of Kislev. As for Asavar Kul, there is no account for certain of how he perished, only that he did. The weak empire will claim Sigmar's champion Magnus struck him down as Sigmar entered Magnus's body. However, we all know how deceitful the politics of the empire can be, especially when they cling to their false gods and string together a withering empire with ignorance and lies. Some say Asavar was abandoned by the gods in a dire moment and was cut down due to his shortcomings, while a few suspect one of his lieutenants punched a dagger through his throat, looking to seize power from the Everchosen. His death, however wondrous, was unimportant, for he was dead. and the world would be able to heal from such a terrible thing. It is said that Teclis tried to burn the body, however his body was indestructible, so instead Teclis opted to have him buried in a small island in the Sea of Claws. Asavar Kul and his legacy are common folktales to his Kurgan people. They believe that his body may have perished, but his soul went on to occupy a tower of skulls. Skulls he reaped from every single person he has cut down in his mortal life, and that he lives in this very tower of which was built for his god, the god of murder, the incarnate of war, the blood god himself, Khorne. Thank you for joining me on this awesome journey. It was a lot of fun to make a lore video on such an infamous character. A couple of people asked me my take on this model, and I'm proud to say that I'm going to be converting a Chaos model for Asavar Kul, as well as some of his Chaos forces, and I'll be kind of doing this throughout this month. If you're looking to support the channel, please like and subscribe to me. I'll be covering more of the lore of the old world as it comes out, and I'll be breaking down the rules, as well as doing a compare and contrast from their counterparts in 8th edition and potentially 6th edition, given on how they take the rules for this game. Everybody, I just want to say thank you. Without you guys, honestly, it wouldn't be as fun to make these videos. It's really cool seeing that my audience is growing. 170 subs. Absolutely thankful for each and every one of you. And I look forward to growing this channel and doing more lore videos and more Warhammer fantasy. Everybody have a wonderful morning, evening, and night. Peace.